Hey guys, Taegil here. In this lesson, we're going to make full sentences in Korean involving the usage of English adjectives as attributive adjectives. I know it may sound a little intimidating, but actually it should be quite easy, and I think it could be even entertaining. So let's get it started. For those who haven't watched my previous videos and for those who forgot what we learned before, I'm gonna quickly remind you here that to modify nouns in Korean, we don't just place adjectives in front of them as they are, we first convert them to a form called the modifier form. And in case of using English adjectives, all you have to do is to add han at the end and then replace nouns or pronouns or noun phrases after. So for example, exciting한 라이프스타일, an exciting lifestyle. You can see that the word 한 is added to the end of the adjective exciting for its attributive usage here, meaning it modifies the following noun, lifestyle. exciting한 라이프스타일. Let's have a look at another one. 큐트한 굿즈. 큐트한 굿즈. Once again, you see the ending for the modifier form used at the end of the English adjective here. Now the word 굿즈 comes from the word goods in English, but in Korean, its meaning went through a process of so-called semantic narrowing, meaning it's used in a much narrower sense. So in English, the word goods can mean any commodities or tangible products, but in Korea, 굿즈 means more specifically goods that have characters from popular animations or pictures of famous actors or singers or things that are purchased as a symbol of support for them. Okay, so now we're going to start adding verbs at the end to make full sentences. And here, please remember that in Korean, verbs come at the end. So it's gonna be a subject-object-verb structure, and that with the casual polite speech form 해요, you can use it for any grammatical person. So you can add any subject at the beginning of the sentence, and you can still use the same form of the verb. And also remember that in Korean, for the most part, subjects can be omitted. So if they are not present in a sentence, it can mean that it could be talking about you, or she, or he, or they, or I, or we. So I'm gonna say someone does whatever. Okay, so here we go. First, 섹시한 포즈 해요. Someone does a sexy pose. Sexy here doesn't necessarily mean sexual. For a sexual pose, we have another adjective. So this expression can be used when taking photos or in modeling. And once again, without the subject here, it can mean anyone. So it can be I do the sexy pose, or it could be you, or he, or she, or whoever it may be, depending on the context. And if you add 우리, the first person plural personal pronoun in Korean, it can mean we do a sexy pose, and depending on the tone and context, it can even be a suggestion, like let's do a sexy pose, like in front of a camera, before taking a photograph or something. 우리 섹시한 포즈 해요. Next, 시크한 메이크업 해요. Obviously, 시크한 means chic, makeup means makeup, and in this case, 해요 means to put on. 시크한 메이크업 해요. Now, in the last two examples, including this one, the words 포즈 and makeup were used as nouns separately from the verb 해요. And this was for the sake of this practice because in this lesson, we're focusing on the usage of English adjectives as attributive adjectives. And adjectives only modify nouns, so we needed them to stay as nouns. But for your information, 포즈 and makeup can be combined with 하다 as well, which is the base form of 해요. In that case, 하다 would be used as a suffix that enables the nouns 포즈 and makeup to be used as verbs, as in to pose and to make up. Alright, now that we've seen some examples, I'm gonna have you practice making some new sentences using the same structure and the same verb. Let's try saying, someone makes a dirty joke, or jokes, because in Korean and Japanese, we tend to be a little vague with the number, unless it's necessary to specify it. So just treat it like a singular, but keep in mind that it could also be plural. Anyway, so how would you say, someone makes a dirty joke? 더티한 조크해요. 더티한 조크해요. Some people also pronounce it as 조크, but I prefer to say 조크. 더티한 조크해요. Now here, I'm gonna introduce a new adverb in Korean that sounds very much similar to the word many in English. It's 많이. And indeed, it means a lot or much. And depending on the context, it can also be used to mean often or frequently. So if you want to say you or someone makes dirty jokes a lot or often, you can place 많이 in front of the verb 해요, as in 더티한 조크 많이 해요. 더티한 조크 많이 해요. And for practice, let's add the first person singular personal pronoun I at the beginning of the sentence as the subject. The first person singular personal pronoun in Korean happens to be quite similar to the French one, 저. So let's say I make dirty jokes a lot. This is certainly true in my case. Or I often make dirty jokes. 저 더티한 조크 많이 해요. 저 더티한 조크 많이 해요. Now, 많이 can be used to mean very as well. So you can place 많이 in front of 더티한 as in very dirty jokes. And in Korean that would be 많이 더티한 조크. 많이 더티한 조크. Next, let's move on and say someone cooks or makes creamy pasta. We learned that in lesson 5, you can use the verb 하다 to mean to cook. So, using the conjugated form of the verb 하다 in the present tense casual polite speech, how would you say someone makes creamy pasta? 크리미한 파스타 해요. 크리미한 파스타 해요. Keep in mind that you can also use the verb 만들다, which means to make, but it can also mean to cook in this context, and 만들다 becomes 만들어요 when it's conjugated to the present tense casual polite form. So instead of saying 크리미한 파스타 해요, you can also say 크리미한 파스타 만들어요. 크리미한 파스타 만들어요. So in the next two examples, we're gonna practice making sentences using the verb 만들어요. Try saying you make a colorful dress or dresses, although once again, just treat it as a singular here. 컬러풀한 드레스 만들어요. 컬러풀한 드레스 만들어요. And finally, try saying you make creative content. But with contents though, you keep the S at the end. So just pronounce it like in English and it should be good to go. So how would you say you make creative contents in Korean? 크리에이티브한 컨텐츠 만들어요. 크리에이티브한 컨텐츠 만들어요. Okay, that's it for this video. In the video of the bottom left of the screen, we'll try making more sentences that are slightly more complicated using the particle law. And in the next lesson, we're gonna learn how to form adverbs from English adjectives by changing just one word from 하다. So it should be very easy and super useful. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.